What up, investors? What up, trader? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and look at what you guys did. Look what the folks at Wall Street Bets, look what the folks at Robinhood did. You guys helped pump up one little heartbeat, a couple more heartbeats at most, for Hertz to potentially not file for bankruptcy and not have to make their debt obligations. Most likely, they're still going to fail, but for some reason, all the smart money or all the hedge funds are looking down at us, at the retail investors. I'm like, why WTF are these kids jumping into Hertz? So this was a very interesting article due to the crazy high surge in the stock market the last 2 days of Thursday, Friday of this week. We had a huge increase of a lot of airline stocks, travel stocks, and of course this directly boosted Hertz, boosting it nearly 825% since its bankruptcy filing, and that was like in the mid of May, and it was up quite substantially just yesterday. So we'll look at the chart in a second. And if you haven't watched this already, we kind of did a video regarding Carl Icahn, the billionaire activist investor, liquidating his whole position, losing almost like $1.9 billion within the stock he's invested over the last 6 or 7 years, selling his shares for nearly 72 cents. That being said, wow, like, we'll go look here at the chart in a second, but the article that is linked here in the post is definitely saying what we're just talked about on regarding that Icahn's stake was pretty substantial again, selling all his shares and just getting out for a terrible loss of literally losing, I think it was like 95% or even more of his total investment. But then we look at some shares that hit the low of 41 cents on May 26th, and it's hit the low was 40 cents, I believe, in actively trading hours. And since then, that was on the 26th of May, it has surged 825% to $3.70. Again, this is a direct correlation to the overall accounts. So you can kind of see here on the price and then the user holding amount. So the interesting, all right, let me slide over. So the Robinhood app here on the web, you can kind of see here, I just have a generic account. I just put maybe a couple bucks in there. That being said, you can see here on Hertz company, you can see that 83% of analysts rate this as a hold. I don't know why, but you can see a total of 95,000 of you folks within Robinhood are holding this position for whatever reason. Again, this can just clearly look at the chart. It's been a completely downtrend and a completely mishap, but I'm not going to judge. Those 95,000 people might know something I don't know and are just willing to throw away their cash. Yeah, I can sleep with that. I wouldn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, but with the completely funny thing of usually when a company reports that it's going to be going bankrupt, you see a couple blimps in the stock, but you don't see a blimp and then continue going higher. So let's go ahead and pull up the chart here via Thinkorswim. Again, I'm not sponsored by Thinkorswim, but if they do want to sponsor me, hit me up, boys. All right, so hitting a high of $20 this year, or actually, yeah, beginning of this year in February, and then come crashing down again due to the overall pandemic, just not really keeping up with the Kardashians or the trends. Looking through the overall market again, filed for bankruptcy on the 21st, coming down, opening up at that 40 cents we talked about. Again, had a little pop-up, which is kind of like a dead cat bounce, as they call it. But then, for whatever reason, you folks within Wall Street Bets and, of course, all those Robinhood investors who got that nice, juicy stimulus check wanted to put it into the market and was looking around, pondering, just thinking on their neckbeard of figuring out what to put their money into. I'm going to put my money into a company that is completely doing everything backwards in it. It's going bankrupt, literally saying they cannot make their debt obligations. That being said, you have an astronomical amount of volume coming in here. You can see here on the average volume. Average volume is around less than 5 million. Just the last 2 days, we've traded nearly 275 million to 320 million both those days. So again, that's a lot more. That's well over 100 times. Yeah. So again, you can see where it just popped off, literally rising the large percentage, basically from 374% in just the last 2 days. So that's a lot of money for sure. Again, it's traded a lot of hands. That's a lot of day trading activity there for sure. I'm not sure and convinced that it's going to be a lot of long-term holds. I think people are just trying to make that quick buck, and you can kind of see what happened here. We had a lot of volume coming in trying to buy the bankruptcy stuff. Mostly the first day was selling, and then you had a pop-up, a lift-up of all that buying pressure, and I can definitely see it. Again, it failed here at the 50-day, literally right on the 50-day. So it needs to kind of break above that. That being said, looking for downward support. If it does come crashing down, it's most likely going to be cutting through the 215 level, 218 here. It's going to be around the 21 exponential moving average. The parabolic SAR has switched to the bottom, which is, again, a significant sign for momentum pushing higher. It did close above the 21, which is also a significant push, but there's just too much negativity. There's literally piles of rocks and debris and just everything holding this down due to the negative press, people, the bankruptcy over its head. It's like it's the only company really this whole pandemic. Like AMC even hasn't even filed for bankruptcy yet. They're in talks, but Hertz is literally the only one who's like, all right, we're folding. We're gonna call it a day. We're gonna liquidate the company and file for Chapter 11. That being said, I don't know if this is going to be enough, or this can even cancel the bankruptcy, if this is another influx of cash, because I think a lot of this is short-term trading, so this is money that's not going to be capitalized by the company. Hopefully with traveling catching up, I don't know, usually bankruptcy takes months at a time. We'll see what happens. Be very careful out there, friends and folks. For you 95,000 people who have this stock, and you're watching this video, please hit the like so we kind of identify who you are. And if you do want to share your story or your reasoning for owning this company, please put it in the comment section down below. Would love to hear the analysis of that. Of maybe just like it's a cheap stock and I want to double. That's, yeah. if that's your story, you can go for it. But so then the other one is the comparison is car. That is the one we also looked at. It was his Avis budget, and this thing has been gangbusters, breaking well through its 200-day exponential moving average on the daily chart. So we're going to put that as a potential resistance. It's been literally riding up the 5 and 8 exponential moving average for the last 2 weeks. Again, this is very high momentum. It is getting kind of frothy. aka it could hit this RSI at 80. So what we saw here earlier in February, again, it had a huge gap up on earnings, reporting very well because it really just curb stomped Hertz. That it had a huge gap up, but then once it hit that RSI, momentum kind of died off again due to the overall pandemic and everything and virus. It just came crashing down, but it continued, should have held probably around the 200, but with all the negative overall travel bans and so forth, it just continued going down. So this is kind of back to even, I believe, where it should have been 3 or 4 months ago. So potentially looking for testing some new highs and lows. What we want to also look at here is the Fibonacci retracement. So that's this little option here. So first line of overhead resistance is going to be the 618. That's a very key point there. So they're going to put that marker there. We could call it a dead cat bounce, so it needs to hold above 30 as well. So we're going to do that there for you guys. And that should be pretty good looking for Avis. Overall, this looks super strong, continuing with the overall market. Let's go ahead and just pop this to like a weekly side. You can see just that huge momentum the last 2 weeks, again breaking above the 21. Parabolic SAR has switched, kind of petered out again at the 200-day on the weekly side, but kind of keeping these parameters in sight. Again, these are not predictions, these are just waiting, sitting in your hands. If you're in it, you kind of have to wait to one of those price targets to kind of get in, just to go long or short and things like that. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments, please put it down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, greatly appreciate. We also have some fantastic stuff. We have a fantastic Discord, which is completely free for you to join. We talk about stocks, different trades, we post funny memes, we share a lot of things, so forth. We also have a Patreon page if you want to go there and support the channel, and you get some watch list stuff that I use here with my Thinkorswim client. And then we also have a live stream coming out tomorrow. Probably going to do it around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that's the traditional stock live stream where we just talk about stocks and talk and just enjoy each other's companies and talk about some great charts and companies for the following week or the previous week. Again, guys, thank you again. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.